Oh, look. There he goes.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Is that a...
It's a
yeah,
guillotine.
It's a guillotine. Yeah. Didn't know they were French.
Do you honestly think you're
Could you be any louder? You really trying to trap yourself, dude?
I had never noticed it before. I was wondering if it would go off if you stepped on it.
Slide. I don't know what y'all expect. It's Casual Geographic. Expect the unexpected. Or in this case, expect the expected, especially if you know what's coming. Just from this opening shot of the video. If you know, you know.
I had a good idea.
Yes. The whole deal with Casual Geographic is I appreciate his honesty and I appreciate his just lack of, bullshittery that you usually see in a lot of these nature things where it's just like he tells it like it is and he doesn't and he makes no bones about it.
Well, it's like a lot of National Geographic and original nature conservation and stuff like that, like shows, are mostly about the beauty of nature, with just a little bit of the brutality of nature peppered in here and there.
Yes.
And he is focusing mostly on the strange of nature, the scary of nature, and the weird of nature. Well, not the weird, but the gross.
Yes, I could see that. But needless...
Strange and weird are synonyms.
Yeah. Well, needless to say,
but still very interesting facts.
Yeah, and, well, National Geographic, it's just like, look at this beautiful creature. And then Casual Geographic's just like, yeah, that's a murder donkey. Don't go near that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's...
It was kind of like that one meme I showed you. It's like, oh, it's so freaking cute. What is that? And it's like, that's a karate cat that will turn your face into ribbons. Like,
yeah,
it's like we know it as the bobcat.
It's like, and as much as my senses are telling me don't, I cannot help but want to pet this little murder kitten.
Yeah.
And it's just like that one cat that we watched. The one that has like the really high jump. The little baby cat,
yeah.
That little munchkin one.
Yeah, that thing, tiny wild kitty.
Yeah, that thing would literally like just go meat grinder on your freaking fingers.
Oh yeah, like my cat is bigger than that cat, and that cat would probably murder me.
Yeah, and
like you would be bleeding out if you had an encounter with that cat that it didn't like.
Yes, that's the crazy part about animals. You never know which ones are gonna be the deadliest. I mean, heck.
To be honest, like regular cats, like house cats, I don't know. Well, you've probably had encounters like this, like because your mom breeds the Sphinxes, so I'm sure you've got once or twice. But if a regular house cat decides to claw you seriously, it's pretty fucking deep. Like,
oh yeah,
they literally will cut you. Like.
Oh, I've
a lot of the scratches people get from cats are like surface scratches, and they're like, "Oh, cats are mean." And I'm like, "You've never actually seen a mean cat.
You haven't been torn open by a cat."
Yeah,
I have been.
I was trying to just hand someone their cat for a friend because they didn't want to come in the house, and I nearly lost my fucking nipple over it. Because that cat did not want to be outdoors, and so just stepping out the front door, it nearly took my nipple off. Yeah, and I was like, in retrospect, instead of handing them the cat, I should have told them to bring a cat carrier to the door.
I have a scar right here on my arm that is from a cat that I tried to shoo away from my house a while ago, and. Yeah, the scar is still there. It's been about 6 years since then. And, never gonna forget. I was just like, it's okay. Go ahead. And then I was just like, I was walking, and then all of a sudden it just takes like 4 or 5 steps toward me. I'm like, whoa. And then, and I was like, oh, shit. Like, damn. Like, it cut pretty deep. I'm not gonna say it looked like a proper slice, but it was like, it looked like just like it like skipped off my skin a lot, and I was bleeding a lot down my arm. I was like, what the hell? And then all of a sudden just looks at me and just goes, and then runs off. I'm just like, yeah, fuck you too, you little shit.
Before I have a little scar on my hand now because before I convinced Kate that cats that aren't sphinxes don't need baths, she insisted on giving my cat a bath, and I had to help. And he got his dew claw in my hand and ripped my hand open because he did not like that at all.
I bet. I mean, gosh. Some cats are bad with baths. Lulu's pretty good with baths.
Yeah, he hasn't had a bath since then, and you should see his fur coat now. He looks like a luxurious gentleman. Like, he definitely doesn't need one unless he gets into something nasty at some point.
Agreed. All right. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. This is These People Are Making a Big Mistake by Casual Geographic. Let's go.
This is why you should never do what these people are doing. Standing too close to a whale that's passed is a good way to get your ticket punched with him. When a whale dies, its insides start rotting, producing a bunch of gases like methane. And if the gas can't find a way out, the methane builds up inside the whale's corpse, turning into a blubber ticking bomb. Because a bloated whale could straight up explode, launching its guts at 45 miles per hour and airmailing its insides up to 160 feet away. This explosion is so powerful, not only can it shower you in whale guts, but if you're standing right next to it, it can severely injure you, if not put you in a coffin right next to it. And if you're stupid enough
I don't
to climb
find
on top
much
of the whale
gross,
with
but that's
something
kind of
you
gross.
can actually get launched into the air. The worst part is, either the gas will find a way to leak outside of the whale, or it'll cause an explosion, and the average person has no way of knowing which will happen. Once in Taiwan, researchers were transporting a dead sperm whale when it randomly blew up, covering people, buildings, and cars in flesh and guts.
The smell must have been horrendous. Oh my god.
I hope everybody was okay so that I could not feel bad for laughing about that. Because I'm just imagining it painting the entire street red.
That's what, yeah, look at it right there. Yeah. And also, like, I guarantee you, like, if
okay, so it's already blown up in that picture.
Yeah, you can see the blood, like, all over the place right there.
I imagine something more amazing than what actually happened, which was more like something from anime where it was just, like, everywhere, all over in every direction, you know?
Yeah. And all of a sudden you just see, like, a dude standing there with sunglasses on, takes the sunglasses off, and it's like completely clean, like where the sunglasses were.
Yeah, but other than that, he's just red.
Just like. Well, it's not how I wanted to spend my Sunday.
Nobody got hurt, but I'm sure therapists made a killing that year. In 1970, people decided to euthanize a dying whale with dynamite. Don't ask me why they did that. The 70s were a weird time. Not only did people get covered in guts, one car got flattened. Facts, no printer, cloudy with meatballs. Daisy, Daisy. This is the first time I can say this about something in the ocean, but what you just saw is 100% completely harmless. Yeah. Even though its closest cousin is a great white shark, this leviathan come to life is a basking shark. Even though they grow to 26 feet long and the biggest one ever.
Basking sharks and whale sharks. I forget about basking sharks, but those are the two kinds of sharks that don't scare me. They still look pretty creepy, but if you look in their mouths, there's a distinct lack of something that terrifies me about every other shark.
Yeah. Distinct lack of teeth.
It's called the freaking murder chainsaw mouth is not there.
Yes. Instead, the bottomless looking well is there.
Unless you work at the chum bucket and have a computer for a wife. They got their name because you can usually find them feeding at the surface of the water, and they look like they're basking in the sun. They also look a lot like great white sharks, so whenever somebody claims to see Megalodon, what they really bumped into was a baskie minding its own business. They look like they're in a constant state of shock because they filter out plankton from the water and then pass that water through their gills. Their massive pushovers and some even seriously circle divers. The only slightly dangerous thing.
Just like you can hear it underwater singing like Luciano Pavarotti.
That would be hilarious.
Like all of a sudden you just go underwater, you're just like
basking in the sun. They also look a lot like great white sharks, so whenever somebody claims to see Megalodon, what they really bumped into was a baskie minding its own business. They look like they're in a constant state of shock because they filter out plankton from the water and then pass that water through their gills. Their massive pushovers, and some will even curiously circle divers. The only slightly dangerous thing about them is they can weigh up to 11,000 pounds, and in 1937, one accidentally capsized a ship, drowning 3 people. But we've actually done this pog shark way worse, and because of overfishing, they're starting to shrink in size. But for the most part, they're perfectly harmless. And in an ocean full of R-rated nonsense, this Kirby guppy is the best you're gonna get. This thing is actually real.
Yep.
Scientists discovered it 3,000 feet below the surface off the coast of California. And even though it looks like a C- arts and craft project, it's an actual animal called the Rosia pacifica bobtail squid, but everyone calls it the stubby squid. Even though it's not an actual squid, it's actually closer to cuttlefish.
I would call it the googly ass squid.
Most of the day buried in a sand with
Looks
only
like somebody painted googly eyes
Dead
on
eyes hunt at night, eating crabs, mollusks, and small fish. But if you told me they feed on the innocence of small children, I still wouldn't take this anime-faced squid seriously. And if you think I'm being mean, go on YouTube and find the video where they found it. Not even Hiroshima got roasted as hard as he did. But in all semi-seriousness, it's actually really important because they change colors based on how polluted the water around them is, making them really useful for scientists. As for the bug eyes, the big eyes help them gather what little light they can at the bottom of the ocean. Either that or Squidward popped a mean one and hit the 9th dimension. That is a Tamando, it's a type of anteater found throughout South America as well as Trinidad. Shout out to Trinidad. Now the T posing, yeah, that's a threat. Let me explain. Anteaters eat ants and termites, and to get to them they'll break into ants' nests and termite mounds. And for the record, termite mounds can be as strong as cement. They break through them with their claws. So unpressed anteaters like the Tamando will like to remind whoever's chasing them that they have claws and to rethink their life choices before they lose them. And you don't want no smoke with an anteater of any kind, because those claws are the reason they're the only animals that jaguars will hesitate to attack, because they could get one shot by them. Anteaters have been known to severely maul people by slashing them and tearing their organs out. One hit could puncture your lung, damage your liver, and even tear your stomach open. This is what happens when an anteater wakes up feeling homicidal. Manduas are smaller, but they're just as mean and just as likely to throw hands, and since they're legally blind, they treat anything that moves as a possible threat. Moral of this video, do not mess with the ant bear. Top 5 animals that break the rules of nature. At number 5 is this lizard, because every whip-tailed lizard alive is female. All the males got cancelled permanently. The females reproduce by basically cloning themselves. At 4 is the clownfish, because every single one born is a male. They only transition to the other side if the dominant female becomes a pack. So the biggest male becomes the new dominant female and then mates with whatever males in the area. And yes, I just described the R-rated version of Finding Nemo. Number 3 is the wood frog, because they can be frozen alive for weeks and walk it off like it's nothing, because they basically have built-in antifreeze in their blood that keeps ice crystals from forming in their cells. In the face of death, it arises like Frog Christ. And speaking of coming back from the dead is the water bear, because honestly, they're broken. They can survive extreme heat, extreme cold, radiation, a nuclear war. They can even vibe out in space, because why the not? They can also go into suspended animation that lasts over 100 years. This moss pig takes a stress nap that lasts over a century without food or water, and nobody should have that much power. Number 1 is a platypus, because nothing makes sense about this duck rabbit. They lay eggs, sweat milk, they have no teeth or stomach, they swim blind and deaf, and they find prey by tracking electricity like sharks. And they're highly venomous because this is what happens when you make a rough draft. You would not want to be reincarnated as these animals. First is a scorpion, and if you're wondering why, it's horrible character design. Because if it loses its stinger, it also loses its anus, meaning even if it survives being crippled, it'll die a slow, painful, constipated death. Next is a seal, because they get violated by everything. If you're not getting slapped up by an orca, griefed by a great white, or assaulted by Otter Cosby, you can get your eyeballs gouged out by a disrespectful seagull. Also, baby elephant seals have to try not to get crushed into a chalk outline by the mother's bigger, more aggressive boyfriend. Other seals aren't that great either, because the mother harp seal will abandon her
Jesus.
Dang it.
baby after 12 days, even though it can't swim or feed itself. Next are hyenas for one reason. That's a female. Connect the dots. Not only do they suffer one of the most painful births of any animal, male hyenas get treated worse than dirt. Males get kicked out of their birth clan at 2 years old, and they have to get severely bullied and hazed just to join a new one. Literally, the moment he's born, his infant baby sisters will try to abort him. Male, female, either way, hyenas that is equality.
Yeah, sure, like, if all women had to give birth through a penis, they'd be even more pissed off than they already are all the time.
He said it, not me. He said it.
It's a joke. Don't cancel me.
Also, he's right.
And last is this poor guy. As if life wasn't hard enough, this wild pig could get folded by its own skeleton. The Barbarous's teeth can grow into its skull and kill it. It's a horrible way to live and a worse way to die. Animals you would not want to be reincarnated.
I've seen people that go out to help those pigs out by cutting parts of the tusks off for them.
Yeah.
There's been some that have them like 2 or 3 inches under their head.
Yeah, there was actually a deer I saw. It was a deer that had it was a reindeer that had its antler that was growing way too much on one side from like a birth defect, and they actually had to like put him to sleep and cut off a massive chunk of his horn. And the crazy thing is, it grew back, and they had to do it again like a few years later. It's like, Jesus.
as Part 2. Ferrets, because if you're a female, you get two choices. If you go into heat but don't eventually get laid, you could expire to aplastic anemia. But if you do get to mate, the process involves you getting mauled, grabbed around the neck, and dragged across the room like you owe him money. Because in a whole move from nature, domestic violence actually stimulates ovulation, so the only way to get pregnant is to survive 50 Shades of Ferret. And speaking of middle fingers from nature, you would not want to be an adult mayfly for the simple fact that they don't have a mouth. And it's not like they just weren't born with them, no, they lose it as they mature, and their digestive system is filled with air and disappointment. You might be wondering how any animal lives like this, and the answer is simple.
They don't.
They don't. They cash in their V-card and become an obituary by the end of the day because nature went above and beyond to screw them. Sloths, because that nightmare you have where you try to run but everything's in slow motion is their entire existence. Baby sloths have to literally hold on for dear life because if the baby falls, you can almost guarantee the mother isn't going back down for it. Leaving the tree is the most dangerous part of a sloth's life, and since the mother can always have more, she'll just leave the baby to die. That is the worst kind of baby shower. They only poop once a week, and climbing down the tree to do this is how half of sloth fatalities happen. Three animals you should legitimately be afraid of.
While you're pooping.
Number one is the assassin bug, because even though most people have never heard of it, they kill about 12,000 people a year. They're also called the kissing bug because they have a nasty habit of biting the lips and faces of sleeping people and then defecating into wounds, passing on a parasite that can cause Chagas disease. This parasite can cause headaches, fever, and swelling, and 45% of people with chronic symptoms develop heart disease, which can lead to heart failure. You can also suffer digestive complications and nerve damage, and it's believed 6 million people carry it right now. Number 2 are snails, because they're responsible for well over 200,000 obituaries a year thanks to a nasty parasite of their own. Freshwater snails carry a parasitic worm that can cause schistosomiasis. Symptoms include excruciating abdominal pain, bloody urine and stool, and even kidney failure and liver damage. These parasites allegedly live rent-free in about 240 million people, and a lot of them have no idea. Number 3 are worms, because an estimated 3.5 billion people carry parasitic worms, and a lot of them will never know.
Damn it.
The worst ones are filarial worms because they can cause fluid to build up, resulting in a disease where your leg becomes the same size as an elephant's, and it's called elephantiasis. It can also affect another body part, and you do not want to Google. Other alligators care about their babies so much that they actually talk to them while they're still in the eggs. Mama gator will build a nest, bury the eggs, and then guard them with her life for about 2 months, and she'll even go without eating for weeks just so she doesn't have to leave them alone. When the baby alligators are ready to hatch, they'll cry out to the mother while inside the egg, and the mother will immediately dig them out. The babies will even start chirping from inside the egg just so the siblings can synchronize and make sure they all hatch at the same time. And if one of the babies has trouble hatching, it'll crawl to its mother while inside the egg, and the mother alligator will gently use her teeth to crack the egg to make it easier. After the babies are born, she'll look after them for about 3 years, and she'll carry them in her mouth to and from the water. And when they get bigger, they'll just ride on top of her. If you didn't like alligators before, you're welcome. In the last 33,000 years, dogs evolved a specific
Alligators are good mom.
Yes.
It's rare for the animal kingdom.
Lets them raise their eyebrows, and their eyes themselves have become more expressive and infant-like. Wolves don't have this, so there's a good chance they evolved this as a trick to manipulate humans. And it works. If a dog has had an emotionally negative experience or an overall stressful day, research shows that they will stay up at night thinking about what went wrong. Research also says that there's a positive correlation between oxytocin and cortisol levels in dogs and dog owners, which is basically a fancy sciencey way of saying your dog is as happy and as stressed as you are because you transfer energy. If you can't sleep at night because you've had a bad day, go check on your dog because there's a good chance he might be up too. After 9/11, the rescue dogs were becoming depressed since all they were recovering were dead corpses. The human caretakers would purposely bury themselves in the rubble just so the dogs could find an actual living body and feel like they got a W. Male puppies will go out of their way to let female puppies win in place, since they know females will get discouraged if they keep losing, so the stronger males will purposely nerf themselves in place since they know doing so means the games will last longer. You love to see it. So I said that the devil will go ice skating before I ruin elephants. And apparently there's an ice rink in hell, so now I have to do it. Elephants have a second trunk in the form of a 6-foot prehensile penis that they can use to wrap around objects and even pick them up. Male elephants are known child abusers. They go into a state called must, which is basically roid rage on 1,000. If they don't get to mate, they'll take it out on innocent babies. They'll kick the babies around, knock them over, and they'll even pick them up with their trunk and then yeet them in the name of sexual frustration.
Damn.
Speaking of which,
They're dicks.
That's fucked up.
bull elephants in South Africa have been known to assault rhinos with their penis and then kill them. It's believed this aggression is a result of stress and fear caused by humans because we are the worst thing to ever walk the earth, and unfortunately it comes at the cost of a rhino's entire way of life and the sanctity of its anus. I mean, how mad do you have to be to a rhino? They may be bigger, but elephants can't process alcohol the same way we can, meaning they get wasted much faster. But elephants will go on intoxicated benders where they'll destroy homes and people. In 2010, 70 elephants got turned off rice beer and proceeded to flatten several homes and take 3 people with them. Elephants cause 500 obituaries a year, and they've been known to trample and disembowel people. And the worst fact of all, they don't really think you're cute, and if this was the only thing getting you out of bed in the morning, go back to sleep.
Damn. Well, you ruined elephants for me.
At least he gave you some nice facts about dogs and alligators.
Yes. Well, see, hold on. There's actually a video.
So I've seen, the baby gators. It's like, they actually sound cute as fuck. So I think baby alligators are definitely the cutest reptile, hands down.
Yeah, well, these are Crocs, but... Aww.
What? Hi.
They make a great sound.
Such a sweetheart. Aww.
Oh, my goodness.
You gotta climb all over me if you could.
I just feel like they're all just like, hi, 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 hello, hi.
Yeah, that's super
Hi.
cute.
If I was bigger, I'd probably eat you, but I'm not, so you're cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They literally exert so much pressure that it makes a popping sound when they snap their jaws.
Yep.
Just that. Sounds like a freaking Little League baseball bat. And that ball is going, it is gone!
Pretty sick, actually.
That's the valve connection.
It's good shit. I like it a lot.
They're scary, but they're cool.
Yeah. Then of course, there's also this right here.
Yeah, where they had to take the tooth out.
Yeah, it was like 3 teeth that were all grown in on top of one another. Basically, just took them all out. I was like, damn, that's pretty hardcore. Oh, yeah. So if y'all want to check those out, I mean, Bondi Vet's the one that it's on, so you can check those out there. They're a little too graphic, I think, for this, but anyway, yeah, that was a Casual Geographic. Again, every time he talks about animals, I'm just like, well, that's another. I usually think that's another list of things that now have ruined certain animals for me. I mean, you know, elephants. I knew that male elephants could be dicks sometimes, but I didn't realize that they actually would like pick up a baby elephant and chuck it. That's kind of a dick move, don't you think?
I was seeing that same clip he showed a long time ago. I've kind of forgotten about it, but yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, they're douchebags sometimes.
Go figure. Well, anyway, everyone, that was
There's a lot of facts like that too that I would know and I forget about things because like I knew about the ferret thing.
Yeah.
And like it's just like that's just a fact that I don't feel like sharing with people on a regular basis because it's like why do you even know that?
It's,
like,
yeah, it's kind of messed up.
I don't know. I heard it somewhere at some point.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird.
Well, all right. Well, I think that's going to do it. Until next time, everyone. Signing off. I'm Nate.
I am Nick.
See you later, everybody. Peace.